All right, let's get started here. Hey, welcome to the 2026 season for Big Sky and the RMAC game clock and play clock operators. Just as a quick reminder, when you arrive to the stadium, the first thing we want to do is make sure we are checking the equipment. If there is issues with the equipment, or if you find an issue with the equipment, make sure you're reaching out to game management to see if you can find a solution as quickly as possible. Hopefully, by the time that you have your pregame meeting with the officials, that any hiccups have been fixed and you can share the update with the officials and that the game and play clock are working sufficiently. If it's not remedied before then, you might want to speed up your interactions with the officials if you think you need their help. We're all on the same team there, so pay attention, get to the stadium early, and let's check the clocks. Thank you. Just as a general reminder, back in 2023, the NCAA approved ruling now allows that the game clock will continue to run when there's a first down in bounds. Um, so this was changed in 2023. So if you're also familiar with high school rules, we are not stopping the clock on first downs at the college level unless we're inside of the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter, which we will talk about. So just a general reminder that the clock continues to run after first downs, and we'll talk about if a runner runs out of bounds and what to do there. So we continue to talk about the game clock outside of the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter. Game clock operators, pay close attention to the snap. The snap should happen immediately, and the game clock should start at that same point in time. So we talk about the game clock stopping, but also the same focus should go into when the game clock is stopped. When it should start is on the snap, and that should occur immediately. It also starts in the referee's signal of the wind the clock. So pay close attention at all times to the referee, especially when we're coming out of a dead clock. First down inbounds, the clock will continue to run, as we just mentioned. If a runner goes out of bounds, you're going to pay close attention to the white hat. And it's the last bullet point here. My apologies. But when the runner goes out of bounds, the clock will stop on the signal of the official. Now your eyes should move right to the referee and watch his signal. As we move back up, also the clock stops on the score of a touchdown when you see a signal displayed by the official. Now, as time is critical, you really want to pay attention and talk to your officials before the game. If you see a runner up in possession of the ball cross the goal line, that clock should stop immediately, especially when time is critical. But throughout the rest of the game, do stop the clock as soon as you see the official signal touchdown. Also, when the runner is down and the official raises one hand, we will not be stopping the game clock. That's an indicator for the play clock at all times. So game clock, just remember these really critical things. Make sure you're starting on the snap. First down and inbounds, the clock continues to run. If a runner goes out of bounds and it's a first down, pay attention to the referee and he'll get the clock running again. All right, thank you. All right, let's talk about inside the last 2 minutes of both the second and fourth quarter. So the game clock, it will stop at the 2 minute mark, I should say. So make sure that you're stopping the game clock when it counts down to 2 minutes. If a play is in progress, allow that play to end and then stop the game clock. So the 2 minute timeout in college football can be underneath the 2 minutes if a play was in progress. And sometimes you'll see that at about the 157, 156 mark. But if it's a dead clock going into the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter, do stop the clock at the 2 minute mark. The clock will only start under 2 minutes in the second and fourth quarter on either the referee whine and, of course, on the snap. So if you're just paying attention to the referee, you cannot go wrong. First down inbounds. This is where we do stop the game clock. But just remember, unless there's a timeout, we will go on the ready and the signal of the referee of the winding of the clock. So pay close attention after we've stopped a clock. If you have a runner out of bounds, obviously the clock will stop on the signal of the official, and we will only then start it on the snap. So make sure you're clean on the inside of 2 minutes in the second and fourth quarter play clock and game clock operators. But right now we're addressing game clock rules. So let's just review a few of the game clock basics here. Always test the equipment when you arrive at the stadium. Always be mindful of the snap. start the game clock precisely as the snap occurs. On a free kick or kickoff, if you will, only start the game clock on the official signal of winding the clock. A big reminder that I want to take into consideration here, cell phones can be a distraction. So can conversations in the booth. So let's remove all distractions during the game and play clock operators. It's really critical we focus on the field. Um, Additional reminders, always keep your eyes on the field, and not just on the field, but on the official. Sometimes we get caught up watching the play. Remember to focus immediately to officials when you're paying attention to the field. The other thing I want to challenge everybody is to be the best, especially in the last 2 minutes of each half. It gets really intense at that point, and we talked about distractions a moment ago. That is really a great time to make sure we have no distractions going on. If you want to heighten your game as a playing game clock operator, pay attention to the coaches on the sideline. They'll tell you if a timeout's coming. Game clock operator, if you see that and you see the signal of a head coach to the official, go ahead and stop it at that moment. That saves the officiating crew from having to put time back on the clock. If we can stop the game clock precisely as the coach is signaling it. That's the next level. You're not being asked to predict anything, but if you're paying attention, you'll see what I'm talking about. Make sure in your pregame instructions, no matter how many years you've been doing this, pay attention to the officiating staff and the instructions that they're providing to you. We only get one game a week on average of 10 to 11 times a season, hopefully more, to run their game and play clock. So paying special attention to the officials during our pregame meetings will help us all be better. So be alert, be ready, and strive for perfection on the game clock. Play clock operators. Okay. Hey, here's your tip of the day. If you're paying attention to the referee, you will not miss a reset of the play clock. One hand in the air indicates 25 seconds. Let's reset that right away. If he's pumping, that means he wants it reset at 25 seconds. If you see two hands pumping, that means they need it at 40. And make sure you listen to pregame instructions on when you should start that 40 seconds. Sometimes it's going to start immediately, and other times it'll go on the ready for play. Make sure you pay attention to this in your pregame instructions. And just real quick, briefly, 40 seconds is what we do throughout the game when a runner is down. Play clock will be reset to 40 seconds. So some crews will tell you take a pause. Other crews will tell you as soon as you see the signal from the official with the hand up, start the 40-second clock. Pay close attention to your pre-game instructions. If there's a catch or an incomplete pass after the signal, that is time when you're going to start the 40-second clock. Obviously, if you have a defensive helmet off or a defensive injury, you're going to have 40-second play clock. 25-second play clock follows offensive player injury and an offensive helmet off. And after most, if not all, administrative enforcements. Play clock operators under 2 minutes in the second and fourth quarters. There is an instant where when replay is involved in a game and replay stops the game, it is important that we freeze that play clock. So if all of a sudden replay gets involved and say there's a catch, no catch, and all of a sudden they want to look at it, and all of a sudden you see the official stopping the game for a replay, and then there's 15 seconds. We're going to freeze that play clock at that moment, in this particular case, at 15 seconds. If at any given time that replay stops the game, reviews a play, and upholds it, and we're under 20 or under 10 seconds, we're going to reset it back to, at minimum, we're going to give the offense a 10-second opportunity. So if they do not uphold it, we're going to reset the play clock with a one-hand pump, and we're going to go 25 seconds. So just a reminder, under 2 minutes in both the second and fourth quarters, when there is a stoppage by replay and they end up upholding it, we're going to have that clock frozen, and we're going to go from that point. So pay attention to the referee. If you're unclear about this, make sure you have a discussion with the officiating crew in your pregame meeting. But it's pretty simple. Anytime we're under 2 minutes in the second and fourth quarter and replay is involved and replay stops the game and they subsequently uphold the ruling on the field, that is when we're going to go from that frozen clock forward. If we need to reset it back down to when it should have been frozen, we can do that, but it's really important that the play clock operator is paying attention again to the officials on the field, because if they're signaling stop the game, stop the game, stop the game by a clock killing signal, it's at that point, freeze that play clock. Don't move it any further and do not reset it. Pay attention at all times, and this will go smoothly for you play clock operators under 2 minutes. So as we conclude this play clock and game clock training session, I just want to encourage everybody to remember you control the heartbeat of the game. If you have your eyes on the referee, you're understanding every signal and applying the rules flawlessly, you keep the game sharp and fair. The coaches, players, and fans of the Big Sky and RMAC are counting on you to be fair and 100% accuracy. Clarity, consistency, confidence. Every moment, every decision will start with you. I want to thank everybody for your time and paying attention to this video and your investment into both the Big Sky and or RMAC conferences. We couldn't do it without you, and we thank you for your time. Have a great season.